La leyenda de la sucia.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, the Narc Karma, or should I say, Karma de la Narcisista. I'm gonna stick to that name, guys. I actually like it. Pete Sapper, I keep on hearing him say it, and I actually like it. It's trendy. Touch on something that give him his 5 minutes or his 5 seconds of fame, which is to one of my haters. He keeps on asking or keeps on pushing the fact that I am a narcissist. With that said, kind of explained this. I believe it was in one of my first videos. I didn't elaborate too much on it, but I'll touch on it today. And so narcissism, everyone has it. Everybody has some narcissism in them, understanding. So I'm gonna have to dumb it down just a little bit, just for they can understand. And that's another reason why I add a lot of emojis or a lot of little pictures to my videos. Is some people just don't get it or understand. So I go, maybe if I put pictures, they will understand it. So like I said, not to offend anybody. Everybody has some sort of narcissism in them. It just depends on how much. It goes on a spectrum. A spectrum which is pretty much a continuum of how much you have of it. Healthy narcissism is good. Remember that. It's a spectrum. It's a continuum. And I'll elaborate a little bit more. But it's picture a little graph. What the difference between NPD, full-blown NPD, and with somebody with narcissistic traits are way different. It has to be diagnosed, by the way, by a professional. Can't be diagnosed by your cousin, your aunt, your nephew, colleagues, or your neighbors. Or just because the guy at the drive-thru is making fun of you or harassing you doesn't mean he's a narcissist. There's a lot more to it. They might have narcissistic traits, but that's pretty much all it is. Or they're just an asshole, or a dick, or a jackass. Kind of like me. Remember, if you don't have any, you're gonna be a bum. You're gonna be lazy. You're not gonna have. You don't want to shower. You're not gonna want to bathe. You're not gonna take care of yourself. You're not gonna have no goals. So actually, having narcissistic traits or having some narcissism in you is good. When it gets bad, or when it comes toxic, is when you start going and hurting people. When you start deceiving people. When you start going people against their. So, is there a healthy degree of narcissism? Yes, of course. Now, when you pass a certain level in that spectrum, combined with these symptoms, then yeah, this is where you start getting somebody in that NPD level, but still has to be diagnosed by a doctor. Remember that, by a professional. If it's out yet, which is a DSM-5. I know number 4 is, which is pretty much just the handbook. It's a handbook of diagnosing mental illness, or at least mental disorders. And you have to get it diagnosed by a doctor, by the way, as well. Not just somebody that just says, oh my God, he's a narcissist. That's where people get it fucked up. Bought into that bullshit that they want you to buy into. So understand that. Don't ever take things personal, garbage. It becomes your shit. It becomes your problem just because you believe someone what they're telling you. When you know yourself, when you can trust yourself, it wouldn't matter. They can tell you what they want. They can say what they want. They can call you, whatever. It doesn't matter. If anything, that's why I make fun of myself as well. I even go on and I'm like, oh, really? And I'll make up a story of my own. And those are my narcissistic traits. That is the asshole, the dick, the prick, because I'm supposed to be buying into it, and if anything, I am, and I'm even gonna clown myself more, but I do it on purpose. Why? Because I know who I am. I know what I have to offer, and that's one thing, or that's one of my biggest narcissistic traits is I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I really don't care who says, because guess what? I know who I am. I know what I offer. I know what value I have. Now, can we forget? Yes, we can forget. I forgot who I was. I forgot what value I had, because I started believing. I started becoming intoxicated. I started becoming infected, just like they were. And I started buying into it. Once I started buying into it, OMG, my fucking life just started spiraling. And it took that long. Yeah, it took them that fucking long to break me down. The last two were disastrous. I was just spiraling, going out of control, not understanding what the fuck is going on, trying to find answers, because I started to believe that I wasn't worth shit. I started to believe that I had no value. I started to believe what. This is where you're right, Steve. This is where I want to. I mean, this is where Pete's right. Pete's right. I started to understand that I'm following, and like I said, Mom, I love you, Mom, but I started following someone like my mom. Somebody. I started chasing that. That's what I started chasing, was someone like her. Like I was behind her, trying to get approval, trying to please approve of me, please agree with me. My advice to someone who has escaped narcissistic abuse, or has dealt with, or is dealing with a narcissist, is believe in yourself. They're just using you, and they just want what you have, whatever it may be. If it's your family, or because you have kids, because you're happy, because you have a beautiful smile, because you have money, because you have status. They're with you for that reason. And I'll tell you right now, if you are with a narcissist, or anyone, or a covert, especially the covert type that I was with, you ain't the only one, man. I'll tell you right now. Now, if you don't mind, and if you have no value, and you don't care, and you're a narcissist yourself, like real or high narcissistic traits, I mean, you deserve what you're gonna get. You deserve what's coming. You deserve what's gonna happen. Now, because either you know it, so that's where it stops becoming abuse. It stops becoming abuse is once you accept it. Once you know it, and you still feed into it, you still go into it, and you still don't mind, well, then it's no longer abuse. It's now a choice. So let me go on with these. Well, what NPD actually is. I don't know the exact definition or term off the back of my, or off the back of my head, off the top of my head. Is I don't know it really, but I do know there's about 9 traits, and you have to hit. I'm like I said, I'm not 100%. And it has to be diagnosed by a professional, by a doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional. But the number one thing is, majority of narcissists, they don't even know, or they believe that they aren't doing nothing wrong. If you ask them, they're gonna say, you're crazy, you're the one. No, everything's been working for me, what about you? And that's when you start getting them to compare materialistic stuff, or they start to belittle you, or they start to project what they feel onto you. That's when you start getting that thing. So so let me go ahead and get on with this video, because I don't want to make it too long, and we'll go from there. So I hope I answered your questions, and I hope I touch on it, and if not, then like I said, good luck. Love you guys, and talk to you later. Bye. It just depends of how much narcissistic traits, or how much in the spectrum you have. So that's what that means. The spectrum is a continuum. It's a graph. It's a bar. It's a 1 through 10, saying 7 after that it's toxic. And you start going, tipping over to the toxic side, to the you hurt people for personal gain, when you have no empathy and you can't put yourself in other people's shoes, when you can't relate to others, then that's when it starts becoming a little bit more. Can you become a narcissist? It does not. It does not make you a narcissist. Just because, you hang out with them. Or can you become toxic like them? Yes. Can you start getting their traits? Yes. But it doesn't make you one. So please, man, I hope that answers your question. You mean I'm just somebody who was in a relationship with one for so many damn years, not even knowing it, taking the blame, being the scapegoat, being a codependent, being a people pleaser. Eventually, over time, when you start hurting people for your own personal gain, and when you have no empathy of putting yourself in their shoes, then yeah, that's when it becomes toxic. That's when it becomes, and still, it's still not a narcissist. It means you just have very strong narcissistic traits. You have to be diagnosed by a doctor, by a professional. They're the ones who do it. That's what they're there for. Now, If you had no narcissism or no narcissistic traits at all, zero, and pretty much you would be just sitting on the couch. You wouldn't bathe. You wouldn't take care of yourself. You wouldn't groom yourself. You wouldn't have no goals. You wouldn't have anything to pursue. So when you have narcissistic traits or narcissism, it's in us. This video, like what I've been doing usually, I'm gonna go ahead and play a video that gives you a more of a proper definition of what NPD is. What I just described. Now, people can pretend it very, very well. People can fake it. People can make it seem like if they care, but it's just all for personal gain. To gain something, money, sex, status, you name it. As long as they're gaining it, they don't care who they have to, step on or backstab or throw under the bus, as long as they gain what they want. And was it toxic? Fuck yeah. I'm not gonna say I did not partake into it. If anything, I was just adding fuel to the fire. I was making things worse by not accepting my own self, by not accepting my own, vulnerabilities of my own codependency of what I was adding to it. Once I accepted that, once I seen what part I took, what role did I play in it, then you start to awake. You start to see, why am I chasing this person? What is it that I keep on attracting these people? So I hope that answers your question. I hope you understand a little bit more. Now, there's a lot more to it. But I'm just giving you a little nutshell, what narcissism is, or how can you see it or portray it. So, for example, like you're saying, am I the narcissist? I have very, very strong narcissistic traits. Yes, especially when I was not awoken, especially when I was walking the facade, walking the matrix, thinking that my own shit didn't smell. Yeah, bro, of course. But that's the thing is, once you awake, once you see yourself for who you are, believe me, things become light. Things are shed into light. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I get a little crazy there.
Is. Narcissism is a spectrum. On one side, you have self-assurance and confidence, which make for a happy and healthy personality. On the other side, you have narcissistic personality disorder, which is self-centered, non-empathetic, and emotionally draining to be around. Narcissism and vanity are somewhere in the middle. They're not healthy, but they're not as damaging as NPD. NPD can only be diagnosed by a professional and isn't something you can develop or catch. The seed of narcissism is usually planted in childhood. Differences in upbringing make for differences in narcissism and change which narcissistic traits people develop. 1. Overt narcissism. Loud, outspoken, and always right. These narcissists tend to be bullies and use their words to tear down the people around them. This is the most common presentation of narcissism. 2. Covert narcissism. Sneaky, like snakes in the grass. You might not even recognize this person as a narcissist. They pretend to be kind and gentle when in reality, they're manipulative and cold, feeding off the people closest to them. They use people as a means to an end, to gain money, power, fame, whatever they want.
Be sure to tell you that on your journey, it will not always be the people that you expect to bless you. Sometimes God will use people in the world, people who don't understand